class, and welcome to Week 5, Chapter 3 recap. Have we answered the question yet, why be ethical? To date, we have explored in Chapter 2 how to determine what is ethical and learn the various explanations of why people choose either ethical behavior or unethical behavior. But regardless of which ethical system or set of principles anyone feels more comfortable with, everyone would do well to become more aware of the implications of day-to-day choices by sharpening their ethical antennas. For small decisions can escalate into large moral life issues in a slow, cumulative way. When faced with a choice of any moral behavior, one should, at the very least, perform the following steps. First, examine all possible solutions and be aware of the direct and indirect effects of each response. Often, when ethical issues arise, they are not recognized for what they are. The individual may limit analysis of the problem to finding a short-term solution or making a quick decision, in which case the larger issue or the ethical implications of the situation are never addressed. It becomes easy to rationalize unethical behavior in this way by explaining that it happened only once, or it was the easiest way, or there was no intention to do wrong. Second, determine whether any solution would be viewed as unacceptable if they were made public, and for what reason. If an individual would be uncomfortable with publicizing an action, chances are that it is questionable. Too often, unethical decisions are protected by a shroud of secrecy, and then the secrecy is defended by pleading institutional or agency confidentiality. On an individual level, unethical behavior is almost always hidden, and further unethical behavior may follow to cover up what has been done already. Probably the best signal that something is wrong is when a person hesitates to make it public knowledge. Third, reconcile the decision with one's personal set of values or ethical system. When one has to make a difficult decision about a moral issue, although one has recourse to value systems passed on by family and advice and counsel from friends and colleagues, ultimately the decision should be one for which the individual is willing to take responsibility. When asked why anyone should be ethical or moral, there is a long version and a short version of the answer to this question. Now, the short answer is so you can sleep at night. The long version of the answer is that philosophers down through the ages have examined, debated, and analyzed this same question. Ethical systems can be seen as not only answering the question, what is good, but also the question, why be good? For example, under ethical formalism, the answer is that the world works better and its rationale to do one's duty and live up to the categorical imperative. Number two, under utilitarianism, the answer is that it's better for everyone, including the individual, to do what benefits the majority. And three, under the ethics of care, the answer is that we naturally and instinctively have the capacity to care and to be concerned about others. Each of the other frameworks discussed also provides answers. One dominant theme, however, emerges from all the ethical systems. That is, we are connected to one another in fundamental and emotional ways. This connection is recognized, for example, in the Golden Rule, the universalism principle under the categorical imperative, rule utilitarianism, and lastly, enlightened egoism. The theme running through these ethical systems is empathy and caring for one another. The reason we should act ethically can be explained rationally by ethical formalism and utilitarianism, or intuitively by ethics of care and religion. It can also be explained by social biologists who would say that it is the nature of humans to care for each other and that to act contrary to our nature will cause personal discomfort for some time. Now, for centuries, philosophers, religious scholars, biologists, sociologists, psychologists, and criminologists have all tried to explain why people do bad things. The research suggests that there are three main approaches discussed in Chapter 3 for possible answers. The three most common approaches to why people do bad things are the biological theory. Certain traits or biological characteristics may influence one's behavior. 2. Learning theory. People learn morals through rewards. And 3. Developmental theory. Morality comes only at an advanced stage of emotional and social development and is linked to cognitive development. For example, Kohlberg's theory. If one believes that morals are simply what humans choose to define as such, one might be more inclined to a learning theory perspective. If one believes that morals exist naturally and humans discover their existence only through reasoning ability, one might be more inclined to accept the developmental stage theory of moral development. However, the approaches to moral development presented in this chapter are not necessarily mutually exclusive. One might agree with the stage theory with the understanding that at a lower stage, rewards are necessary to elicit moral behaviors, for example, rewarding young children for sharing. One might support learning theory, but also accept the notion that when we are intellectually mature, our reasoning abilities mediate simple rewards. Thus, although young children might be fooled into taking or thinking that practicing the piano is bad because someone was punished for it in the story, no older child or adult would be taken in by such a trick, and individuals in totalitarianism societies may continue to believe in democratic ideals through reasoning, regardless of the punishment they may receive for such beliefs. Biological research indicates that moral decision making comes from both the reasoning centers of the human brain and more primitive emotional centers of the brain. Thus, people's feelings of empathy and sympathy and doing the right thing may be the result of evolution. We also explored the connection between immorality and behavior, especially criminality. Some research has attempted to predict behavior from measures of immorality. Also, there has been interesting research that indicates that some types of interventions can improve the moral reasoning abilities of some offenders. Whether moral reasoning will affect behavior is a different question. Thanks for listening, and now please continue with week 5 assignments.